Drinking school children learn worse than non-drinkers. Anti-alcohol poster from the USSR, 1950s. World Championship of Sitting on a Pole, Netherlands, 1971. A clash between women and police in South Africa, 1962. The women destroyed and burned a brewery to protest police bans on home alcohol brewing. Finnish blacksmith Pirtimaki stood in line all night and became the first buyer of a bottle of vodka after the repeal of prohibition on April 5, 1932. A Soldier's Return Home, Vienna, Austria, 1946. In 1968, for the first time in history, a woman lit the Olympic flame. In the photo, Mexican runner Ketty Basilio. This photo is a unique piece of history. It shows Geert Adriaans Boomgaard, the last living man who fought for French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte. Geert was born in 1788 and died in 1899 at the age of 110. Advice from a Russian children's magazine on how to point out a black person, 1904. We will arrive in New York on Wednesday. One of the last letters written aboard the Titanic the day before the disaster, April 13th, 1912. These unique shots capture Berlin residents trying to save zoo animals amid the thunder of Soviet artillery. Germany, 1945. All war propaganda, all cries, lies, and hatred always come from people who will not go to that war. George Orwell. This is exactly how toilets were designed in the Middle Ages. Prostitute's timer. In the late 19th century, French prostitutes kept sets of candles like these. Each candle burned for about 7 minutes and was lit at the beginning of a session. Many will smirk. Just 7 minutes. Many will call the girls lazy, and they wouldn't be wrong. A tradition of American military sailors. When crossing the equator for the first time, newcomers had to adopt this interesting pose. 1944. In the Qing dynasty, Chinese women cultivated long fingernails as a symbol of wealth and leisure. Breaking a nail was regarded as a genuine tragedy. Korean entrepreneurs buy weapons for defending their property during the riot. Los Angeles, USA, 1992. A photograph of Rainy Bethia, taken 2 weeks before his hanging for the rape of a 70-year-old white woman. It was the last public execution in America, 1936. Korean refugees crossing a bomb-damaged bridge, 1950. A soldier from the 173rd Airborne Brigade, South Vietnam. A message to the homeland about the most important matters, Afghanistan, 2000s. Andy the Goose was born without feet but became a celebrity after inventor Gene Fleming made him Nike sneakers. He inspired children with disabilities until he was tragically found killed in a park in 1991. The culprit was never found. Chinese billionaire Liu Han, immediately after the death sentence was announced. He had been accepting bribes and promoting relatives and acquaintances to positions of power. Lieutenant William Spreckley of the British Armed Forces is hospitalized in January 1917 with a shrapnel head wound and leaves Sir Harold Gillis Clinic in October 1920 with a significantly corrected appearance. Samsung Office Trading, Fruits and Fish, Korea, 1938. This was the beginning of the Samsung Empire. Hysteria at the funeral of Ayatollah Khomeini, the leader of the Iranian Islamic Revolution. The crowd of frenzied Shiites tore his shroud, taking pieces of his body as holy relics. In the stampede, the body was dropped and trampled 3 times. The Hunter brothers inspect the engine during their 23-day non-stop flight, 1930. A Viet Cong soldier ruins a young man's Western-style haircut and cuts his shirt. Saigon, Vietnam, 1975. The first border post, set up after the U.S. war with Mexico, 1848. Mexicans would often scratch insulting words on it about the occupiers, which led to this symbolic sign being surrounded by an iron fence. After losing 13,000 soldiers in the war with Mexico, the USA gained territory equal in size to all of Central and Western Europe. A bra model fashionable in the 40s and 50s. Last Hope, a woman praying to an icon in a ward for HIV-infected patients, Russia, 1993. A 25-year-old woman at the grave of her brother, who served in the U.S. Army in Iraq and Afghanistan, 2013. The Japanese during World War II displayed unprecedented cruelty, killing more Chinese people than the Nazis killed Jews. Tens of thousands of Chinese women were raped. Many of them were killed. The demise of the largest dirigible, the Hindenburgs, marking the end of the dirigible building era. USA, 1937. An ancient praying mantis preserved in amber, over 12 million years old. The democratically elected President Salvador Allende, moments before his death, during a military coup at the presidential palace. September 11th, 1973, Santiago, Chile. Liberated Jews who were traveling on a German death train. World War II. The coronation of Bokassa, the Emperor of the Central African Republic. 1/3 of the country's budget was spent on it, and among the refreshments was the meat of his political opponents. British magician Kuda Books demonstrates his ability to see with his eyes closed. England, 1937. In Italy, pasta was once considered street food. In 1908, like all good street food, it was consumed not with a fork, but directly with bare hands. Liberated prisoners from the German Dachau concentration camp, beating a guard dog, 1945. A comradeship trial over a woman who didn't want to work and pretended to be ill, USSR, 1935. A former Wehrmacht soldier begging. The sign reads, "No eyes, no hands." Germany, 1946. Prohibition. Men pouring out whiskey. USA, 1931. A minute before execution, the harsh realities of war. and inhumanity. The British lined up Muslims of India for refusing to fight against the Ottoman Empire. World War I, 1914. Circus elephant from the Aymar brothers plowing land in occupied France, 1941. A Dora Middlebow camp prisoner shows an American soldier the camp crematorium. This man survived a fire on a sinking ship in 1871, leaving him with emotional trauma. 41 years later, he finally overcame his fears and nightmares and decided to go on a cruise on the Titanic. The first same-sex marriage in history. Axel and Egil Axgill became the first same-sex couple to receive legal recognition and rights. Denmark, 1989. New Year in a Soviet psychiatric hospital, 1988. Pacific Islanders examine an F-4U Corsair aircraft. At first, they mistook the soldiers for deities, 1943. In the 19th century in England, there was a man with a second face on the back of his head. Edward was an heir to the English peerage in the 19th century. He had an additional face at the back of his head that could not eat or speak, but was capable of laughing and crying. California, 1890s. The immense stump of a giant sequoia, remaining after the tree was cut down to manufacture a huge table for a wealthy American businessman. Racial hatred. A hotel manager pouring muriatic acid into the pool to get black swimmers to get out of the pool. German refugees cross a destroyed bridge. Elbe River, Germany, May 1st, 1945. Newspaper headlines read on a train to Stamford, Connecticut. The day after John F. Kennedy's assassination, November 23, 1963. A Rough Morning, 1954. Survivors of the Andes plane crash, 1972. They lasted 72 days by eating the bodies of the dead. A woman with a portrait of her son greets the last train with former German prisoners of war from the USSR, 1955. Masonic Lodge Meeting, USA, Arizona, 1897. Chinese court, the most inhumane court in the world. Every day one stone would be removed from under the feet of the man until he suffocates. Photo from 1906. In the picture is a river pirate who killed 6 people. USA, Alabama. Mass protests of the black population against white terror in September 1963. Before the signing of Germany's surrender on May 8, 1945, the head of the German delegation, Field Marshal Keitel, seeing French military personnel among those present at the ceremony, was astonished and asked, "What? Did these also defeat us?" Men in a Bear pulling a car out of the mud. Russia, 1987. 5-year-old Warren runs away from his mother to his father, Private Jack Bernard, shouting, "Wait for me, Dad," during the British Columbia Regiment March, October 1st, 1940. In 1916, when the U.S. debated whether to enter World War I, legislators from Nebraska proposed a bill for a national referendum. anyone who voted for war would immediately become a volunteer and be sent to the front. War orphans searching for food, Tokyo, 1946. Chinese justice, a prisoner, kneels on chains with hands tied by the pinkies, Mukden, 1906. A 23-year-old man who switched from the communists to the side of the South Vietnamese government was captured by the communists and spent a month in a concentration camp where he was deliberately starved. An ordinary American bar from 1941 with a sign that says, "They don't serve beer to Indians." Everyone has embarrassing photos from the past. A prisoner at the Dachau concentration camp during a medical experiment, 1943. A cat runs across the street. During a street battle in Beirut, Lebanon, 1980s. In 1947 in New York, the body of Homer Collier, who had starved to death, was found in an apartment blocked by 100 tons of junk, underneath which his paralyzed brother was also discovered. Rock carvings by Australian Aborigines, estimated to be about 15 to 40,000 years old. 1950s poster advertising tours to watch nuclear tests near Las Vegas, Nevada. 1942. This is how Disney's Bambi was animated, by hand, frame by frame. In 1869, a caterpillar invasion struck America. In the photo, a group of volunteers is destroying the harmful insects. A bear drawn by the smell of baking rolls in the oven. Russia, Cape Schmidt, 1997. Brigitte Bardot, the sex symbol of the 60s, but beauty does not last forever. He was just a cat, but human enough to console during periods of loneliness and pain. Korean War veterans display experimental prostheses. South Korea, 1955. All members of this glider unit survived, went through the war, and in 2011 reunited as they were in 1944 before the Normandy landings. Auschwitz, 1944. German officers and guards have fun while countless victims are killed and cremated daily in the nearby death camp. The USSR actively fought against religion and alcohol. This photo shows the head of state in 1970. The greatest jazzman in history, Louis Armstrong, leaves an autograph in the form of a drawn trumpet on a fan's head, France, 1961. The planes of Angela Merkel, François Hollande, and the rock band Iron Maiden at Zurich Airport. Hiroshima before and after the explosion. Afon learning there was a blind little girl in the audience, Elvis knelt before her. "Do you like my songs, honey?" "Yes, sir. I listen every night before bed." After the concert, Presley paid for her vision restoration surgery. A timeless problem, the fight against excess weight. For example, Portuguese monks in the 12th century fought this issue by making a special opening in their monastery's dining hall, so that overweight monks had to fast. Vin Mariani, a popular 19th century drink, called the favorite wine of celebrities such as Alexander Dumas, Conan Doyle, Robert Stevenson, Jules Verne, and even Queen Victoria. It contained cocaine and was banned in 1915. Superheroes wash windows in a children's hospital. USA 2000s. Meet Johan K. Pedersen, the tallest man in Icelandic history, standing at an incredible 7 feet 8 inches. That's 2.34 meters. Teeth sharpening ritual of Indonesian tribes, 1938. Symbol of maturity and beauty. Dolce & Gabbana advertising campaign, 1987. A black woman protects a racist from an angry mob, 1996. Cold delivery to the 5th floor, France, 1917. The submarine Kursk being lifted from the bottom of the Barents Sea. This skull was found in France in the early 19th century and was one of the most controversial artifacts of the time. The Museum of Supernatural History, through analysis, determined that the horns are a natural part of the skull. John F. Kennedy, Dallas, a minute before the shots rang out, 1963. U.S. Air Force planes fly over burning Kuwaiti oil wells, 1991. Thank you for watching this video until the end. I hope these photos impressed you. Some may have made you angry, brought a smile, made you happy, or perhaps even caused some negativity. Feel free to leave your comments and stay tuned for the next part. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Bye.